Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. Today's tip is a fun one. I can give you no good reason as to why it works, but I can assure you that if you try this tip out, you will give yourself the opportunity of catching a few extra fish and the potential of catching some really big fish. So don't underestimate today's tip. Before I get into it, I do want to remind you that if you're looking for a little help on some of your local lakes, check out the lake breakdowns that I'm doing with fishthemoment.com. The link is in the video description. It's a great way to get some guidance on either a new lake that you're going to or get some help on a lake that maybe you fish quite a bit. Also, if you're looking to purchase some baits, please use the Tackle Warehouse affiliate link that I've got in the video description. It's a great way to support the channel. And if you want to go a little bit further, you can bookmark it for your future purchases as well. It's very much appreciated, guys. And a lot of the baits I'm talking about today will be at Tackle Warehouse, and you can pick them up there. All right, so a little background on this tip. I'm going to say roughly 10 to 12 years ago, I went to Lake Cumberland. And I stopped at a bait shop there. And one of the first things I realized was how many baits that they had that were pink colored. And when I say pink, I'm talking straight up pink. I mean, all kinds of different pink colored baits. I thought it was really odd because most bait shops you go to don't have any pink colored baits, let alone pink in almost, the majority of baits that they carried. Pink spinner baits, pink everything. And I remember actually purchasing a couple just because I thought they were interesting, and I was like, you know what, I can use these for bed fishing because they're so bright and bold, and I thought that they could be good. Well, what I came to find out after that event was that several of the top finishers were throwing pink baits, pink swim baits, pink spinner baits, and they absolutely crushed them on Lake Cumberland. Smallmouth and largemouth, did not matter. Well, after that, I was like, well, there's something to it. And I started poking around a little bit. And it turns out that it's a pretty common thing to be doing in that region of the country. But there's also little groups of people across the country that are applying pink baits all over the place and having really good success. So in the last 10 years or so, I have accumulated a really good collection of pink baits and put them to work and found out that not only are there times that pink absolutely dominates, it also generally gets really big fish to bite. And I can't answer that. I don't know why. There is nothing in my mind that looks like a pink bait. So I don't know what it is exactly, but there's something to it. So I want to go through some of the best pink baits that I've had success on that I think you guys might want to look into too. I think there's a good commonality here that pink does generally seem to perform very well in clear water, which again doesn't make much sense, but it seems like clear water is where it really shines. We've seen it with like the robo worm, drop shot worms, the morning dawn color. These little pink worms have been absolutely dynamite, and they're pretty much the go-to color of a lot of people now across the country. So there's obviously something to the pink that works. And I realize that this is not the same as, say, your like bubblegum pink, but it's still a very pink bait. The same can be said if we're talking about like your methylate colors, your floating worms, these are an old pack of Cincos. There's something to that, and that's kind of a pink. But none of them are really the bubblegum color. And since I've been trying this, I have definitely found that your pink swim baits really perform well. This is another thing where I've seen out on Lake Mead, out, in Nevada, there were a bunch of guys at the US Open throwing pink baits. These are just skinny dippers. So I've had great success fishing for all three bass, largemouth, spotted bass, and smallmouth throwing pink. I've had good success dragging old Yamamoto hula grub in pink. One of my favorite baits on the Great Lakes for smallmouth, if I'm fishing around shipwrecks and very isolated targets, is the Berkeley Spy. This is their pink one. It's pretty cool too, because when you're throwing one of these pink baits, they glow in the water. You can see everything so well, and you can see them down at deep levels, especially in that clear water. So you really have a good concept of what your bait's doing in the water. But here's another thing that popped up last year. There were guys at the St. Lawrence River Pro Circuit event that I fished that were throwing pink frogs. Like, this is a new thing now, and this is popping up where pink frogs are becoming a craze, and guys are catching them on this. Another bait that I've done really well on is a pink jerk bait. This is a Megabass Vision 110 plus one. It's called the light pink back shad. I mean, that thing has got a glowing pink back on it. I've done real well on the head and chugging spooks in the pink color. I mean, it just is crazy how we're starting to see pink pop up, but it's because it catches fish. It's not just one of those things that catches the, you know, the attention of an angler, because honestly, most anglers I don't think want to be throwing a pink bait. But there is something to it. I don't have explanations for it, but I do recommend that you give it a try. And specifically, some of the days when I find it to be best are on days, post-front days, when conditions are generally tougher. I do really well on windy days. And so if you've got some good overcast conditions, say with the jerk bait or the swim bait, it works really well. And the spy bait, like I said, is a really good bait to be throwing on flat, calm conditions. But it does seem like to me that generally I do better on days when it's overcast versus sunny. Now, that doesn't mean I don't catch them on sunny days with pink. It just seems like I do a little bit better. And I don't know if that's because it's so bright and it still glows without the sun hitting it, but it does seem like it generates a few bites. So guys, if you don't have some pink baits, I suggest you go out and you get you some. If you can find them, like I said, most local tackle shops don't even carry pink. Tackle Warehouse, I don't even know if they have these colors of pink, but when you see them, you should probably try to pick some up because they really do work. Guys, I mean, we know guys have been throwing bubble gum for a long time, but now you can get bubblegum colors in pretty much everything else. Check them out. Thanks for watching, guys. If you've seen this work for you, put in the comment section so that everyone else doesn't think I'm crazy when I'm talking about throwing pink baits. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned. Another video coming out tomorrow.